Hey everyone, and welcome back. Get ready because today we're diving deep into the top 10 emerging technologies for 2024.
And let me tell you, some of the stuff is straight out of science fiction.
No kidding, but it's real and it's happening right now. We've got two great sources lined up for this deep dive.
We're looking at an article called Top 10 Emerging Technologies of 2024, a deep dive.
And we'll also be pulling from a YouTube video from AI Uncovered called Top 10 Emerging Technologies of 2024, according to science. So, are you ready to jump in?
Let's do it. These sources highlight some fascinating technologies that are already making waves. For example, xenotransplantation.
Xeno, what now?
Yeah, it's a mouthful. It's the transplantation of organs from one species to another.
Okay, so are we talking about transplanting animal organs into humans?
Exactly. In fact, in January of this year, David Bennett Sr. became the first person to receive a genetically modified pig heart.
Wait, seriously? A pig heart? Wow. That's pretty incredible and also kind of wild. What are the chances of that working long term?
Well, it's still very early days, but the potential is huge. Think about the organ shortage crisis. In the U.S. alone, over 100,000 people are on organ waiting lists. Xenotransplantation could be the answer.
So no more organ donor waiting lists. That would be amazing.
Right. But it does come with challenges. Scientists are still working on ensuring that these organs are safe and effective long-term. And of course, there are ethical considerations to think about as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a complex issue, but fascinating nonetheless. Okay, what's next?
Let's move from the medical field to something that affects us all: food.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's new in the world of food and agriculture?
Well, we've got a growing global population to feed, and traditional food systems are under strain. Our sources point to alternative livestock feeds as a potential solution.
Alternative livestock feeds? Like what? Are we talking about lab-grown meat here?
Not exactly, although that's another area of active research. No, we're talking about things like using food waste.
Food waste. Like leftovers. You're going to feed leftovers to livestock.
Not exactly leftovers, more like processed food waste. And that's where black soldier fly larvae come in. These little guys can break down food waste and turn it into protein-rich animal feed.
Huh. That's actually pretty ingenious, a more sustainable way to deal with food waste.
Exactly, it's a win-win. And that's not all. Scientists are also looking at single-cell proteins from things like bacteria, yeast, or algae as potential feed. And these can be grown on industrial byproducts.
So turning waste into food, that's amazing. Are there any challenges in making these alternative feeds a reality?
Of course. Scaling up production is a big one. And then there are regulatory hurdles and, of course, consumer acceptance. Some people might be a little squeamish about these new types of feed.
Yeah, I can see that. It's definitely a big shift. Okay, so we've got pig hearts and insect-powered agriculture. What else is on the horizon?
Well, what if I told you we could use microbes to fight climate change?
Microbes fighting climate change. Now that's something I need to hear more about. Microbes fighting climate change. Now that's something I need to hear more about.
So we've all heard about carbon capture, right?
Right.
What if I told you we could use microbes to do the heavy lifting?
Okay, you officially have my attention. How does that even work?
Scientists are engineering microbes, specifically a type called Coccus elongatus, to capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and convert it into useful products.
Wait, so these tiny little organisms can just suck up CO2 like little environmental superheroes?
Pretty much. And we're not just talking about a small amount either. These microbes could potentially sequester gigatons of CO2 each year.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's huge. But are there any downsides to just releasing these engineered microbes out into the environment? What if they mutate or something?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Scientists are carefully studying their impact to make sure they don't disrupt ecosystems in unexpected ways.
Yeah, you don't want to solve one problem just to create another. It's like introducing a new species. You have to be careful. Okay, so from microscopic helpers to some seriously cool tech, what else do we have?
Ready to ditch those bulky air conditioners and noisy refrigerators?
Always. What have you got?
Let's talk about elasticaloric materials.
Elasta what now?
Elasticaloric materials. It's a mouthful. I know, but it's really cool. Imagine a material that actually cools down when you stretch it or compress it.
Wait, so you're saying there's like this material and you can like squish it and it gets cold?
Exactly.
I think I actually saw a demo of that online. They were pressing on this metal and it was getting cold. It seemed like magic.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Okay.
And the applications for cooling are massive. We could be talking systems that are 20–30% more efficient than what we use now.
So not just quieter and less bulky, but also cheaper to run and better for the environment. Where do I sign up?
Well, there's a catch. The materials are still pretty expensive. Think nickel titanium alloys. not something you just find at the hardware store.
Yeah, I figured there had to be a downside. So no elasticaloric AC units anytime soon.
Well, researchers are working on using more readily available and eco-friendly alternatives like natural rubber. So hopefully it won't be too long.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay, so what's next on our technological tour?
Let's talk about how we build the world around us. Immersive technologies like digital twins and augmented reality are changing the game for construction and urban planning.
Okay, I've heard of augmented reality, think Pokemon Go, right? But digital twins, that sounds like something out of the Matrix.
It does sound pretty futuristic, but basically a digital twin is a virtual replica of a physical object or system. Think of a city like Helsinki creating a digital twin of their entire urban environment.
So they can see everything happening in the city, but virtually.
Right.
Traffic flow, energy consumption, even where all the best restaurants are.
You got it. But on a more serious note, it allows them to model different scenarios and make smarter decisions about infrastructure, resource management,
Oh.
even disaster preparedness.
That's really cool. So it's like a giant interactive city simulator. What about augmented reality? How does that fit into the picture?
Well, imagine construction workers on a job site wearing AR glasses that overlay digital blueprints directly onto the real world, so they can see exactly where each beam goes, every pipe, every electrical wire, without having to consult paper plans.
Wow, that's next level. Talk about reducing errors and boosting efficiency. Are there any downsides to these immersive technologies, though?
As with any powerful technology, there are always concerns. Data privacy is a big one. As our cities become smarter and more connected, we need to be very careful about how that data is collected, stored, and used.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in some kind of surveillance state dystopia. It's a tightrope walk for sure, balancing the benefits of technology with the potential risks. So what's up next on our deep dive?
Hold on to your hats because we're diving into the world of ISAC, integrated sensing and communication.
ISAC sounds intense. What is that?
It's actually pretty straightforward. It's about using radio waves for more than just communication. ISAC allows us to use the same radio waves that transmit data to also sense and gather information about our surroundings.
So like a radar system, but using our phones and Wi-Fi and stuff.
Exactly. ISAC can be used for everything from creating real-time traffic maps to monitoring vital signs in healthcare settings.
Wow, the applications seem almost endless.
They are. Imagine autonomous vehicles using ISAC to navigate flawlessly, even in challenging weather conditions. Or smart cities that can instantly identify and respond to accidents or emergencies.
Okay, now this is getting really futuristic. But with great power comes, are there any concerns surrounding ISAC?
Privacy is a major one for sure. As we increasingly rely on radio waves for both communication and sensing, we need to make sure this technology isn't misused for surveillance or other breaches of personal privacy.
It's a good reminder that every technological leap comes with its own set of ethical questions we need to consider. We've covered a lot of ground here. What else is there to explore on our tech journey?
Let's take our exploration to the skies as we explore HAPS.
Like happy thoughts?
Not quite. APS stands for High Altitude Platform Stations, essentially cell towers in the sky.
Hold on, we're talking about flying cell towers now? That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Hold on, we're talking about flying cell towers now. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It's definitely a wild concept.
Okay.
But APS are already being developed and tested as we speak. These platforms float way up high in the stratosphere.
Okay, so much higher than regular airplanes.
Oh yeah, much higher.
Yeah.
And from up there, they can beam down internet access to areas that need it most.
So we're talking about bringing internet access to remote communities, disaster zones, you name it.
Exactly. Imagine a hurricane hits a remote island, knocks out all communications. APS could be deployed rapidly, restoring vital communication networks. It could really be a lifeline in those situations.
That's amazing. But, I mean, how do you even keep these things up in the air for that long? And what about, like, bad weather and stuff?
Well, those are some of the challenges engineers are working on. APS needs super durable, lightweight materials, solar panels to keep them powered up there, and, of course, sophisticated autopilot systems to keep them in the air, even in rough conditions.
Wow, it sounds like they've thought of everything. It's amazing to think that we could be using technology like this to bridge the digital divide, bringing people all over the world closer together. Crazy. What else is in store on this tech odyssey of ours?
Get ready for this, because we're about to enter a world where walls can have ears, or at least something that acts like them. Let's talk about reconfigurable intelligent surfaces, or RIS.
Walls with ears. Okay, now you've lost me. What in the world are reconfigurable intelligent surfaces?
Imagine a surface like a wall in your house, or even a window, And it's embedded with these tiny little electronically controlled elements that can actually manipulate electromagnetic waves.
Electromagnetic waves, so like the waves that our phones and Wi-Fi use.
Exactly. Light waves, radio waves, the whole shebang.
Hmm.
And these RAS can be tuned to either block, absorb, or reflect these waves, giving us incredible control over how signals travel through the air.
Okay, so you're telling me that we could use like walls and windows to control our Wi-Fi signals? That's pretty wild.
It is wild. Imagine boosting your Wi-Fi signal, eliminating those annoying dead zones, even steering signals around obstacles. We could create a super efficient, adaptable wireless network, all thanks to these intelligent surfaces.
Okay, that would be a game changer for sure. Faster internet, fewer drop Zoom calls. I'm in. Any downsides to consider?
Well, as with any technology that deals with data and communication, privacy is a big one. As RIS become more commonplace, we need to think carefully about how they are used and who has access to that control.
It's always a balancing act, right? Amazing technology, but we need to make sure we're using it responsibly. All right, we're down to our final emerging technology for this deep dive. What's the last stop on our journey?
Let's wrap things up with a topic that's crucial in our increasingly data-driven world: data privacy. Specifically, privacy-enhancing technologies, or PTs.
PTs, like cats and dogs. I'm not sure I follow.
Not those kinds of pets. Think of these PTs as a group of technologies specifically designed to safeguard our personal information.
So, like digital guard dogs for our data.
Love that analogy. One example is something called homomorphic encryption. It allows data to be analyzed and processed without ever actually being decrypted.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying companies could potentially use our data to gain insights, develop new products, all while that data remains encrypted and secure?
That's the idea. It's all about finding ways to extract useful information from data while still protecting individual privacy.
That sounds like a win-win to me.
Right. And then there's another approach called federated learning. It trains AI models on decentralized data sets. So instead of all your data being uploaded to some big tech company's servers, it stays on your device.
That's really cool. So it's more distributed and more secure. I like it.
It's all about putting individuals back in control of their data. Of course, no technology is perfect, right? There are always challenges. But PETs represent an important step toward a future where data privacy is at the forefront.
Well, that's definitely reassuring to hear. And on that note, we've reached the end of our tech-focused deep dive. What a journey it's been. We've covered everything from pig hearts to flying cell towers and even walls that can manipulate radio waves.
It's incredible to see the pace of innovation and the potential these technologies have to completely reshape the world around us.
It makes you think, right? What kind of world are we building? And what ethical considerations do we need to keep in mind as we move forward? I think that's something for all of us to ponder.
Absolutely. Technology is a powerful tool, and it's our responsibility to use it wisely and ethically for the benefit of humanity and the planet.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of tech. And to all our listeners out there, we want to hear from you. What technological advancement has you the most excited, and what implications do you think it holds for our future? Let us know. Share your thoughts on social media using the hashtag #TheDeepDive. Until next time, everyone.